Okay, so for this video, we're just going to go through the rest of the leg, and it's very similar to the arm. In fact, the bones of our arms and legs are what we call analogous. They're really the same bones. Um, and so let's start with the femur here. So the femur is your thigh bone, obviously. It's the biggest, strongest bone of your body. And there's a picture on page 33 of the femur. And so I just want to kind of go over the typical structures of the femur. So, you've got to be able to tell me that that's the femur. And we've got some structures on the femur. Now, in my other video, I mentioned the arm, and we went over all the arm bones. Well, the leg bones are very similar. See, we've got the head of the femur, and then the head of the femur, there are these two bumps on the neck of the femur, and they're called trochanters. So if you remember, the humerus has tubercles. Those are the bumps on the humerus. Well, the femur has trochanters. So the one on top that's really big is the greater trochanter, and then the one that's kind of below the head of the femur, that is the lesser trochanter. So you have the greater and lesser trochanter. This is the back of a femur, and if you look at the back of a femur, it's got this ridge that goes down the back. See, the front doesn't have the ridge. The ridge is called the linea aspera. And you can kind of tell the front from the back because the back has this ridge, the linea aspera. Now, down at your knee, we've got some typical structures, just like our humerus. The joint are the condyles, so they're the rounded knobs at a joint. And then there are some bumps above the condyles. So if you notice, like, this has this bump right here, and then there's a bump on the outside. So the inside bump and the outside bump, they're called epicondyles. And this is the back of the femur. The front of the femur, you can still see it. See this bump on the side? That's the medial epicondyle. And then this little bump on the outside is the lateral epicondyle. So we have these condyles, and the condyles are the rounded knobs at a joint, and then the little bumps above them are the epicondyles. Now that takes care of the femur. So that's all you got to know. Next is the patella. And so the patella is your kneecap. And so let me turn the page. So on page 34 is our patella. And I know they're going to tell you that you have to know left and right. Don't worry about that for the test. I'm not going to have you memorize left and right. Just tell me that that's the patella. And then the bottom of the patella has a point to it, and that's called the apex. So they might have that on the test as well. But that takes care of the patella. So that's not too bad. Then we've got our two lower leg bones. The two lower leg bones are called the tibia and fibula. And the tibia and fibula, oops, sorry. I got to get my document camera set up. So the tibia and the fibula are going to be your shin. Now, they're easy to tell apart. The tibia is the weight-bearing bone. And so it's becomes pretty broad at your knee, and then it kind of narrows down. Your shin is kind of has a sharp ridge. And then next to it, on the outside, is the fibula. And the fibula, you don't need to know anything about the fibula, really. You don't need to know left or right, nothing like that. The only thing that you need to know is at the bottom of these two bones, you've got these things called the malleolus. Now, the tibia, the weight-bearing bone, has the medial malleolus, and the fibula has the lateral malleolus. Those are bumps that make up your ankle bumps. You know, you've got a bump on the outside of your ankle and a bump on the inside of your ankle. Those are the malleoli. So the tibia has the medial malleolus, and the fibula has the lateral malleolus. That's all you need to know for these bones. All right. There's nothing else on the list. It's just tibia and fibula with their lateral and medial malleolus. Now we are ready to go into the foot. So I'm going to go to page 34, and we're going to just look at the foot in general. So all of your ankle bones are called tarsals. Like your wrist bones are carpals. These are tarsals. You have 7 tarsals. And there's 2 of them that you are supposed to know individually. Your heel is called the calcaneus. And the bone that the tibia sits on is called the talus. The other 5, you just need to know as tarsals. Then the top of our foot is their bones called metatarsals. And then our toes are all phalanges. And that's all I'm going to have you memorize. I'm actually, because of my COVID situation, I'm going to kind of give you a break on this stuff. I'm not going to really worry about left and right. And I'm not going to have you tell me like the different phalanges, because they might ask you like, are they proximal or distal or medial phalanges? If you just tell me phalanges, I'll be fine. So these are going to be groups of bones that you need to know. So you need to know the tarsals. There's 7 of them, with the talus and the calcaneus being specific ones. And then you have the metatarsals, and then you have the phalanges. Okay, so that's kind of a crash course in the lower body. And, if you just know the basic bones and then those structures I mentioned, you'll be golden. Like I said, don't worry too much about left and right. I'm not going to emphasize that because I haven't been able to talk with you directly, and I feel responsible, and I kind of feel negligent really for not instructing you properly on this. So we'll get through it, and then when we get back together next week, no more quarantine, and we'll be in good shape. So I will see you next week for the test. And I really apologize that we can't meet before then, but I'm still in quarantine. So I will talk to you soon, and have a great week. And we'll meet up next week. All right. See you later.